is they took it for granted. IITs knew what the engineering program is all about, and then they tried to
work from there
and try to design their own curriculum.
But if you look at even
If you look at even IITs have never stated who is an engineer, who is a good engineer, and what are his characteristics, what kind of knowledge and skill set he must have. Nobody defined that, and everyone said we all know, so there is no need to state anything very clearly.
But for the
first time in 2016, I would say, the NBA, National
Board of
Board of Accreditation, decided to state very clearly,
with a little bit of much input coming from ABET, which is an American organization. Okay, so that is how first time in India in 2016. What is an engineering program has been formally defined. Several institutes. Most of the things that the MBA does, yes, they are required to be somehow boxes to be ticked, but it doesn't find
it is not integrated into the curriculum. A few years, slowly the programs will accept the program.
Acceptance of
somebody do, people will still some reservations and not have it, but the reservation you want to do something.
So all of you as faculty are heads of departments and institutions should accept the program.
So all of you institutions the program outcomes as given me. From time to time, they will receive feedback from all of you and will modify. For example, even in these 12 program outcomes that were defined in 2016, it was found, we immediately have time to say, combine two into one and make them 11. In future program outcomes, you talk about 11 program outcomes. Even the wording of this may be changed in near future. So you should always see that these kind of terminology or this kind of outcomes will keep evolving with time, depending on the national needs as well as international trends. Okay, there is nothing absolute about it. Now, coming to, there are 3 levels of outcomes that we talk about. One is program educational objectives, and the next one is program outcomes and program specific outcomes. They are at the same level, and then the course outcomes. Can we go to the next one, please? Okay, PEOs.
See, when you are designing any program,
mechanical engineer designing the curriculum. What do you want? You want the graduates of mechanical engineering to be working broadly in the area of mechanical engineering, whatever they do. And if they don't do, then your program has no meaning at all. But you will design your curriculum in such a way, these people are, mind you, when you are designing the curriculum, you are talking about at least 5 to 6 years after that point, people will get into the job market. Okay, so we expect the graduates who work in the area they are being trained, whether they do research, whether they do production, they use the testing, marketing, whatever you do, but they're broadly working in the area or in the topic related to that discipline. But that's why PEOs are broad statements that describe the career and professional accomplishments in sometimes they'll say 3 to 4 years or 4 to 5 years after graduation. The program is preparing the graduates to achieve. Beyond that, you cannot prescribe. It depending on the experience, they may migrate to varieties of positions. Okay, but what happened because of the IT market, the way IT has been growing, that most of the people are eventually, or even at the first level, they are directly entering into the IT industry. This you cannot prevent because there appear to be more jobs, though, but we are overproducing people with IT background, but that is where everyone wants to go. So what the NBA has decided, normally you should also measure whether the PEOs have been attained or not. That means you have to do the survey of your alumni and find out where your graduates are and try to make sure that these PEOs are actually attained. Now, as the dominance of IT, the NBA decided yes, PEOs have to be defined, and you take feedback from there. But you are not insisting that to establish that PEOs are attained at this point of time. They may do so in near future. Okay. So that is about PEOs. PEOs have to be written, and a few other things have to be done as per the NBA requirements. But we are not measuring the attainment of PEOs. Okay, like the way we measure the attainment of PEOs and PSOs. Next slide, please. Okay, coming to PEOs, our topic, PEOs are statements that describe what the knowledge, skills, and attitude students should have at the time of graduation from an engineering program. And what does it mean? When we are training, first thing is all faculty will have to look at not through the specific courses they actually teach or the specific sub-discipline they specialize in. You are now all the faculty of a department are responsible for a program. If you are doing civil engineering, all the faculty of civil engineering department are responsible for that particular program. So it is a concern of everyone that what should be the characteristics of a graduating, let's say, civil engineering. Now, a civil engineer not only has some knowledge in several sub-disciplines of civil engineering and he acquires skills, but is also a responsible citizen contributing to the society. And what is happening, as you know today, the speed with which the entire environment in the world is changing, you have to prepare him to operate in such a First of all, it has become too much global and IT is dominating. And now in the last few years, you have the crisis of climate. And as you can see, there is a lot of problems related to people because there is too many people on earth. Resources are inadequate, and we are all fighting for the resources, and that's what all the wars are about. Okay. Now, in such a case, in such a situation, how do I prepare my graduates, and who defines them? Who says what kind of characteristics they must have? So, as far as engineering is concerned, the National Board of Accreditation has taken a position that the characteristics of graduating engineers should be that. Unfortunately, whatever that was defined in 2016 is in alignment with NEP 2020 as well. There is no you can certainly improve the way the POs are stated, but there is no fundamental difference between NEP requirements and the POs that are defined by NBA in 2016. Okay? One can take that. But the POs that are given were written in a fairly complex and very generic way because as guided by the Washington Accord graduate attributes. And in some places, people are trying to differentiate or do both graduate attributes and program outcomes. It is meaningless. Graduate attributes is a word used by the Washington Accord, and that term is replaced by NBA as program outcome. Okay? And if you look at the 12 graduate attributes given by Washington Accord and the 12 POs written by NBA, approximately they are the same. So there is a little shuffling that is done and a few words are changed, but it is written in the same way. But when Washington Accord wrote that, they wrote it in a very generalized way because they are applying it to the entire world. Whereas if you try to do like that, if you compare the way, for example, EBIT in America has written or Japan has written, they are much simpler statements and they are a little more specific to the needs of their countries. Okay. So here, when you look at the POs that we are going to look at more, they are a lot more than what we can do or what we are doing. Okay, strictly speaking, there is not a single program in the country that meets all the POs in the way they are stated. We can tick a box, all right, nobody will complain, but none of them are. We will look at some examples. Okay, so this is what broadly you have to look at when you are looking at POs, because you always should remember, I am not training my student how to solve a particular equation alone, or I am not making him design an electronic circuit and leave. I'm preparing him. I'm preparing him as an engineer. So one should understand what are the characteristics of a good engineer. That people have written, but officially we have never written down. Hopefully they are reflected through. If you attain the program outcomes in their true spirit, you are training good engineers. That's all I would say. Okay. And there are 12 POs that are written for undergraduate engineering programs. The POs for postgraduate programs are different. Okay? And as mentioned yesterday in the first presentation, the POs, these 12 are divided into two categories: disciplinary and professional competencies. Okay? Can we go to the next one, please? Next slide.
आपके पास खुली हुई है ना वो तो?
Okay, coming to the other outcomes, program-specific outcomes, there are outcomes that are specific to a program.
Next slide.
What can happen is, depending on the resources, both the human as well as the physical resources that you have, an undergraduate program can also specialize a little more narrowly. They need not be identical across the country. They should not be also. Unfortunately, the so-called model curriculum destroys that. Everybody thinks that it is ECE model curriculum. All ECE programs should be identical. No, there is no need. There is nothing that is stated. It is an indicative one. Okay, an indicator. Somebody has written. If you want to look at what a group of people have written, you can use it. Rather than it is not mandatory for an institute to exactly follow
the model
program
curriculum.
specific
Okay, so program-specific outcomes are to be defined by the department that is offering the program. You can also what you
differentiate your
differentiate your program in any depending on the resources that we have or depending on the local requirements that we have. So PSOs are outcomes that are specific to a program. They are PSOs characterize the specificity of the core courses of the program, not the electives. Please remember that. And they can only be 2 to 4 in number. That is the formal aspect of PSO.
as our focus is not PSO.
As our focus is not PSO, we'll go to the next one, please. Next slide. Course outcomes are what students are required to attain at the end of a course. Now, again, course outcomes cannot be written completely independently of the program. You cannot say, this course is mine, I will teach or I will design the way I please. No. Especially core courses, they are part of an entire program and all the faculty will have to ideally sit together and make sure the course outcomes of all the courses are in alignment with the PSOs and POs. Okay. So what happens is if you look at your POs and PSOs, they can only be attained through the courses. Predominantly, courses constitute 90% or 85% of the total program. So what happens is your POs and PSOs also have to be attained through COs of all your courses, especially all the core courses.
So what happens
is in that process, you have to write COs in such a way or choose your COs of each course in such a way that they do address a subset of POs and PSOs. Of course, no course can address all the 12 POs and 4 PSOs. No, not possible. But put together all the 30 odd courses that you are going to offer, put together, that is the requirement. And obviously, course outcome should be observable and measurable. Something must have been already talked about that yesterday. Let's go to the next one. Next set of slide. Next slide, please.
Next slide.
Okay, this will capture pictorially the entire OB MBA framework.
Anu sir ko bhi.
At the top, you have the vision and mission of the institute, which all departments will have to sit together and do it. Even if you are a university, you have to look at, at the university level, you have vision and mission.
जॉनी सर कह रहे ऊपर आ जाओ चाय पी लो आपके
Any department or a school that it has
बंसी सर की भी बोल
will
दोनों को बोल दो
have their vision and mission in alignment with the vision and mission of the institute or the university. Okay? And what happens once the vision and mission of the department is made ready or has been decided? We are not talking of the dynamics or the way it is to be written. That is a topic for another place. Here they write, normally you constitute some board, either board of studies or academic council, whatever name that you give. They will decide which are the PEOs that program will have to attain and which are the PSOs it wants to attain. But the POs are given by NBA. So what happens, your program now consists of your curriculum has to be designed based on what the POs and your PSOs. So as you can see, it's a top-down approach, but we have been doing it bottom-up approach. Faculty will decide if these courses have to be there and put a union of those courses, and that becomes the curriculum. No. But ideally, in the context of OBE and MBA, you have to define from the top. Your curriculum will have to be defined from the top. Yes, there are methods available, but again, the curriculum consists of the 7 components as given by AICTE, and other than project, the rest of them are the 3 courses, and each course is described through its course outcomes. So the outcomes have been mapped out for you in this diagram. I hope that is clear. If there is anyone has one question, we can address that at this point. Okay, let's continue. Now, as I mentioned, the program outcomes are similar and in alignment with the graduate attributes of our only 5 of 12 POs are dominantly disciplinary outcomes, and the remaining 7 are professional outcomes. Sometimes are also known as generic or transferable skills or outcomes. 3 POs mention complex engineering problems, 2 POs mention complex engineering activities, and 2 POs mention so-called contextual knowledge. Okay. Next one, please. Now,
The issue of complex
the issue, no program in the country addresses complex engineering problems in any of its activities. But still, we pick, for example, if you look at PO1, it talks about solving complex engineering problems. We say, yes, we are doing it. What we are doing is maximum, that is the best. We prepare students to be capable of solving end of chapter problems. End of chapter problems are not complex engineering problems. Okay, let us see how complex engineering problems are characterized. They are. This is as written by Washington Academy. They involve wide-ranging or conflicting technical, engineering, and other issues. I don't think there is any maybe an elective may address, but all courses they do not address this at all. They have no obvious solutions. There is nothing like this is the only way to solve. That is the first nature of complex engineering problem. They involve a diverse group of stakeholders with widely varying needs, have significant consequences in a range of contexts. If you solve the problem in one context, look at something like Narmada Dam. How many, for the past few decades, people are still battling with addressing all the issues. Yes, it did something good, but it did something bad for a large number of people. Okay, have possibly many component parts and subproblems. That is the nature of complex engineering. I don't think any core course or any textbook that I am aware of actually addresses any complex engineering problem in this sense. Next one, please. Let me give a few examples. Plan for supplying water for irrigation and drinking to a group of villages in an arid zone. This is, even in the complex engineering problems, you have levels. Okay? For example, how do you solve uh, Russian-Ukraine war? Is a complex problem. Now, it will have endless number of issues that need to be addressed. So at least supplying water for irrigation and drinking in a group of villages is not as complex as that. Design an instrumentation system for managing available water and its utilization in a river basin. As you know, we keep on having river water disputes all the time in the country between states and multiple states. Design a system for construction of large-scale and middle class housing in towns with population less than 2 lakhs. Okay. Improve the quality of power supply to a city or a district. Design a system for managing an elephant corridor without conflict between humans and elephants. These are some complex engineering problems. They are not, first of all, there is no unique solution to solve any of them. And then one has to worry about what are all the other consequences of your solution. Okay. Next one, please.
डिस्पोजल का तो मैंने भी पता है शॉप का नंबर बढ़िया लगते हैं वो
Next slide.
मेरे को लगा
Some more. Designing resilient critical infrastructures such as power plants, water treatment facilities, communication networks, transportation systems, against natural disasters, cyber attacks, and other disruptions. Of course, this is not a single complex engineering problem, but it's a sample. Okay, designing sustainable urban infrastructure to support growing population in cities involves integrating transportation systems, water management, waste disposal, energy distribution, and green spaces. And while doing this, you have to manage all the political interests. Okay? And that's how all our cities become very messy because everyone wants to maximize their individual whatever situation. Okay. So complex engineering problems have these characteristics. Please look at your own curriculum whether you are addressing anything like that in any of the courses. Next one, please. Next slide. Okay. Now we will come to each PO will spend some time. Even here, when we were written, we were not that very clear how to, we didn't follow any particular structure to the statement. Okay. Here, you see, apply the knowledge of mathematics, sciences, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization to the solution of complex engineering problems. Actually, how should it be written? The focus is solving complex engineering problems. So, if you want to reword that, solve complex engineering problems, not in any arbitrary, intuitive way, but applying the knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization. That's what this is. Okay, I wish it was written like that. And actually, every course, if you look at, if you are prepared already for MBA, you will happily tick this box. Though you have no right to tick the box. Sometimes to the strength of 3 they will write, which is also not right. First of all, we are not solving complex engineering problems. And if you look at the core courses, we are not even solving engineering problems. We are solving mathematics, physics, chemistry, or engineering science problems. They are not engineering problems. If you look at any engineering program, there are out of the 30 odd core courses, if you have, you have only about
94 की
5 to 7 courses which you can call them as engineering
94 की आ
courses.
जाएंगे कुछ की लाइन पर
Remaining ones are all science or mathematics or engineering science courses.
उनकी कदम है
Okay, so we are not even addressing satisfactorily even engineering problems, leave alone complex engineering problems. However, you want to tick your box, but please keep this in mind when you are redesigning your curriculum.
अपने आप को नहीं नहीं ब्रेक करने लगा था मैं तो इन्हें पूछेगा
Okay, sorry, you just go back.
ਜਿਹੜੀ ਲੈਵਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਗ੍ਰੇ ਜੀ ਬਣੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਲੇਅਰ ਜੀ ਬਣੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਵਾਲਾ ਕੱਪ ਪ੍ਰੋਪਰ ਹੈ
Go back to the previous
ਤਾਂ
one,
ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ
please.
ਉਹ ਟੈਕਸ ਹੋ ਕਾਫੀ ਕੱਪ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ
So here, end of chapter problems will at least moderately address this PO. Strictly speaking, I would put one or maximum two strength for addressing PO1. Basic sciences or engineering sciences do not address engineering problems directly, very rarely. But you can design your course in such a way
5 ਰੁਪਏ ਦਾ ਪਊਗਾ
that is, while it is engineering science, but you also have a reasonably significant portion of the course addressing engineering problems. It is possible to design courses like that. Like if you take fluid mechanics, it can be taught purely as fluid mechanics, which is an engineering science course. But I can also throw in maybe 20%, 30% of the topics in such a way that you actually address some engineering problems which uses that particular fluid mechanics knowledge. Okay. Now next slide, please. Okay, what are the activities through which PO1 can be addressed? When you say activities, we are not proposing that all these activities should be put in every course that you have, every core course that you have. But they can be dispersed over several courses. And that is why the course design ought to be kind of a group activity of the department to ensure that we are not leaving any major gaps in the overall design of the course. Solve end of the chapter problems that everyone should do. If that can be incorporated, engineering problem was formulated. If operated, then for example, when you take a well-defined problem, you can say what are the assumptions that are made and in what context these assumptions are not valid. In such a case, how does the problem change? If that kind of experience can be given right from the first year, it would be nice. Understand the nature of complex engineering problems. Yes, we are not solving, but at least can we understand the nature of complex engineering problems. Yeah, you can take one or two lectures, take a major one like river water management issue or any such large problem, then that can be presented. At least the students will understand in what direction they should equip themselves and give examples of complex engineering problems, give multiple solutions to given complex engineering problem. That is another very good way of doing it, to demonstrate that there is no unique solution. Okay, next slide, please. Now comes PO2. This is still more esoteric and more complex. Now, if you look at what does the state, unfortunately what happens is the problem analysis. The moment everyone sees analysis, yes, we are doing analyzing problems all the time. That so happily they will tick the box. But if you look at the statement below, as written by the NBA itself, you have 5 different activities in this. Identify, formulate research literature and analyze complex engineering problems and reaching substantiated conclusions using the first principles of mathematics, natural sciences, and engineering sciences. As you can see, we don't have any course that normally focuses on problem identification, not problem formulation either. And we don't do research. We don't research in literature, and we do not strictly analyze the problem. The issue of analyzing will have to be interpreted in the context of revised Bloom's taxonomy. Analyze is a loose word people use. So we have to be specific, and we don't do that. To my knowledge, we don't do it. And you have to reach substantial conclusions.
मैंने मैनुअल लिख के प्रॉपर सारा मैनुअल लिख के प्रॉपर लिख के उसको 90% सारा कुछ करता डालना फिर लोगों ने दिया हाँ सूप भर
Sorry for the interruption.
आइसक्रीम हो गया आप आइसक्रीम मंगा लो बस
So, where do we do all this? The only place we seem to be doing a little bit of each is at the level of project. Even there, we may not be doing it. So, if you look at further in detail, what is defined as problem analysis, it involves problem statement construction, problem formulation, and abstraction, information and data collection, modeling, validation, experimental design, experimentation, interpretation of results, implementation, documentation, feedback, and improvement. That many activities, if not all of them in one course, bits of this will have to be put in the entire curriculum. Then only it makes some sense, some kind of a sense. So ideally, I won't tick the box related to PO2 for any of the courses that we normally offer, except for the project. Okay, but that is my personal view. Okay, next one, please.
सुबह ले आकर रख दे तभी मैं उधर मेल्ट होती है
Next slide. Okay, for example, the substantiated conclusion should be arrived using first principles. Again, we are not arbitrarily, intuitively doing it, but we are applying the systematic, all the principles that we have learned. Majority of the program do not have courses that address even a small subset of these activities. These activities can only be included in mini and major projects, provided they are properly orchestrated. You cannot merely say every project addresses all this. You have to orchestrate the project in such a way that all these elements are addressed. That is the reason why some programs have started incorporating, besides the final year project, you have 2 mini projects as well in second year and third year. One can have in first year also a mini project, but it requires a lot of effort on the part of the faculty together, all the department faculty together. It has been done. We have experimented in one of the universities in Gujarat. It is possible to do, and there are other types of experiments being done across the country. So if one is interested, you should look around and see what different people are doing, and one can adopt, which will bring the PO2 into focus. This PO can also be addressed through group assignments in some courses, but anything that is related to PO2 will require a lot of planning on the part of the faculty, and possibly more than one faculty member needs to be involved. Okay. Or you got to have some other kind of infrastructure depending on your institute. Like If you have research students, they can be part of this. If they are master students, they can also be brought into this. If you have teaching assistants, they can be brought here. So it depends on the type of institute that you have. Next slide, please. So what are the smaller activities that you have? Identify complex problems that dominantly belong to your engineering branch. Make appropriate assumptions, especially about the context in which the solutions are being sought. Understanding the context, that is a major issue for any engineer actually. Justify the assumptions made in formulating complex engineering problems. Understand the requirements of end users of solutions to the problem. Explore and select a method of solving the formulated problem. Specify the hardware, software, products and processes that can produce a solution to the formulated engineering problem. So these are all what you call activities that can lead towards that. But even if such activities are not there, obviously you are not addressing POT. Next one, please. Speed up a little bit. Next one. Okay, we come next to the design and development of solutions. Again, if you read the statement, design solutions for complex engineering problems. Already we are not looking at complex problems at all, none of the courses. And design system components or processes that meet the specified needs with appropriate consideration for the public health and safety and the cultural, societal and environmental consideration. Okay? First thing is, we are not solving all the complex engineering problems in every course. At least we are designing system components. Hopefully, in electronics, you are designing circuits or designing some elements or a motor in an electrical engineering program. Or in mechanical engineering, you know how to design a particular mechanical component. So at least every program does design system components. Processes, yes, mechanical program will do, and maybe if you have chemical engineering, it will do. So processes also are addressed in this, but that is where the catch is. While taking into consideration public health and safety and the cultural, societal and environmental consideration. That I am 100% sure in none of the programs, no textbook will address that directly. Because our another problem in India, when we design our courses, not only in India, elsewhere as well, quite a few of the courses, though not all, you start with identifying a textbook rather than what is it that the student should be able to do. You identify a textbook and your only design of the course is how many chapters will you address. Once that is done, your course design is done. No other choice. So obviously, if any of these things are missing in that, so be it. But that is the way the place. We all seem to accept that. So how do you address actually public health and safety? Environmental consideration. First of all, you may not know it fully, but at the first level, what can be done is, if there are standards that need to be followed in engineering, yes, there are always standards. If you are able to follow those standards, at least you will meet up to a certain point. Civil does it a little bit with regard to structures, and mechanical also does it a little bit to follow some standards. But IEEE, for example, has lots of standards and also corresponding Indian standards. if they can be brought into the curriculum and you do problems in the context of those standards, yes, then you are truly addressing PO3. Okay. I hope I made it clear. Next one, please. The design and specifications of components and processes need to be evolved from the solutions to a given problem. Okay, that is one part of the issue. That is, you work out a solution. From the solution, now you have to say all the subsystems and components, how they should be specified. For example, the criteria and specification should be developed taking issues related to public health and safety and the cultural, societal and environmental considerations. So the criteria and specifications have both functional and non-functional components of that. So can we come from how do you do that? You will take a particular product that you talk about and say what are the public health and safety considerations. With respect to those products, one can discuss. So as I mentioned, the easiest way or the direct way is to use relevant standards. Can we, next slide please. So these are some of the activities that can be done, incorporated to address PO3. Understand the role of public health and safety and the cultural, societal and environmental consideration in determining the non-functional requirements of products and processes. Identify the standards that are applicable to the product or process that needs to be designed and developed. Design components and subsystems as per specifications. Specify the testing process to check the performance of the designed product or process. Document the design of products, components and process. When you document, you learn quite a lot. We will not elaborate that right now. Okay, next slide, please. This is also a very complex one. Conduct investigations of complex problems. Use research-based knowledge and research methods, including design of experiments, analysis and interpretation of data, synthesis of the information to provide valid conclusions. People, they say when you have laboratory course, they will happily take PO4. No, it depends on how you are conducting your laboratory course. First of all, you are talking of research-based knowledge. We don't have either time or resources to do a kind of a research type of collecting the. Let's say you are doing something related to water purity, determining water purity. You don't have time or resources at your disposal to let students go and collect samples from different parts of the town and bring it and actually test them and put all the data together. We don't have. If you have, it will be wonderful. Okay. And also one needs to understand the research methods relevant to the discipline of concern. Because each discipline has its own way of defining how something needs to be measured, understand the limitations within which that whatever measurement information that is available to be used and so on. If they can be involved, for example, that kind of thing can be done if you have, there is a possibility of what you call service courses, service learning courses, or sometimes you can design your course itself in such a way, there is a significant component of this kind of measurements being taken, where you do the survey and collect the data and process the data to come to conclusions. Next slide, please. I will skip this. Let's go to the next one. What are the activities that you can use to address PO4? Plan and perform experiment surveys and collect the data in accordance with the applicable standards. Perform the necessary calculation and data reduction to draw valid conclusions. Present the results in a professional manner. How do you do it? These are some activities. If we can do, yes. Next one, please. Now, PO5 is modern tool usage. Once again, if you look at create, select and apply appropriate techniques, resources and modern engineering and IT tools, including prediction and modeling to complex engineering activities with an understanding of the limitations. If you look at, you are talking of creating, selecting and applying. We don't have a resource or other provision for creating a tool nor selecting a tool, because selecting a tool and procuring it is an expensive process. At least if the institute procured some of the tools, state-of-the-art tools, they can be applied by the students in some courses. If one can create a tool as a part of a project, yes, it can be done. Selection can only be paper level exercise, comparing different tools for specified application. But one can present. Take anything like your finite element analysis tool. There are multiple tools available. You can spend significant amount of time comparing them, comparing their features, which will be good. Next slide, please. And the other one is the modeling. Can we have some courses where modeling is done and you link it with the tool that you are using? At least one can claim majority of the programs these days, they do use some reasonably state-of-the-art tools, whether it is MATLAB or PSpice or finite element analysis methods and so on, and more new tools are coming. Some of them are in public domain, some of them have to be paid for, and so on, but majority of the institutes are using the modern tools. So you can at least with reasonable, without feeling guilty about it, you can tick the box PO4. Okay, next one please. Next slide. The next one, we can skip that. This also can be skipped. We can go to, we already addressed. Now comes PO6. PO6 and PO7 are going to be clubbed together, because there is a lot of commonality the way PO6 and PO7 are. Now, engineer and society, what happens is our society is a consequence of technology interaction with the society. Okay, our society, for example, is determined currently by the cell phone, smartphone. Some time ago, it is decided by the TV, and there are other technologies that contribute to the growth of, let's say, our communication. So what happens is the
Technology decides how
Technology decides how the society functions,
and
and the way society is functioning also pushes the technology. They work with one another. There is nothing like you cannot look at any engineering discipline without reference to the society in terms of what kind of influence it will have, what kind of conveniences, what kind of dangers it produces. Generally, we always lag in that. Once the cell phone came into picture, you only look at the advantage and then say we will worry about when the problem comes. And the problems have come and we are worrying about it but without finding proper solution at all. Okay, what does PO6 say? Apply reasoning informed by contextual knowledge. To assess societal health, safety, legal and cultural issues and the consequent responsibilities relevant to the professional engineering practice. Now,
how do we do this?
how do we do this? For example, we say technology is both cause and effect of societal changes. If you look historically, right from prehistoric times to the present day, it is a constantly technology is both cause and effect of societal changes. Of course, we can narrate endlessly about that. We will not get into that. Engineers produce products and services apparently for the benefit of the society. There are societal health and safety, legal and cultural issues for all products and services, and these are context dependent. You take one particular product that is, for example, a high-end part of a city and take it to a rural area and try to apply. Of course, Dove soap can be sold in rural areas these days. That can be done, but majority of the products do not get translated into use in different contexts. So context does play a role. Students should experience and understand the relation of products and services to people, society in a variety of contexts. Unfortunately, we don't have courses of that kind. They can be designed. But when you put a group of engineering faculty in one place, they only look at engineering courses or engineering science courses. So, designing a curriculum for an engineering program to address all the POs is a completely different exercise. That too when you want to bring the NEP 2020 also together. And whenever we tried to do that exercise with one or two colleges, it was a disaster. They straight away outright rejected it. They wanted to go back to whatever they were doing with the minor changes, only changing a textbook for the same subject kind of thing. Next slide, please. Now, how can we address PO6? One of the ways is to understand this. Every area like mechanical engineering, civil engineering, if you have professional societies associated with that. And one way to do is understand the goals and working of relevant professional societies, because that is where they spend a lot of time to talk about how the particular professional society should function. Identify when and where engineers interact with society through their professional activities. Understand the responsibilities implied in one's professional practice. So that is the way PO6 can be addressed. Of course, we are 20 minutes behind, but we should be able to finish in 20 minutes. Yes. Okay. Next one, please. Now, engineering society. Society means you also talk about environment, and today sustainability has become the dominant issue. As you know, UNO has set up 17 sustainability goals, and all countries have committed. to meeting the sustainability goals by 2035 and so on. So sustainability becomes a if there is one single what do you call aspect that we need to take, including environment, climate, and all that, sustainability becomes the most dominant, you can say, super term. In whatever way sustainability is defined, if we are able to lead to a sustainable way of life, that's what, for example, if you do things in such a way, at the end of next generation, the earth ceases to exist. Obviously, that is not the way we want. So sustainability becomes the most important thing. In fact, there is
across the
group
world,
of educators across the world, they want to talk about sustainability education. If there is one aspect of education, not only in engineering, in all ways, it is. If you want to name it a single one, it will be sustainability education. Okay. Now, what is PO7 as put down here? Understand the impact of professional engineering activities in societal and environmental contexts, and demonstrate the knowledge of and the need for sustainable development. Now, this is a very wide spectrum of activities. So obviously, no program can address all the wide spectrum of activities, but at least the student should be made sensitive to these issues through case studies, presenting some data. There is plenty of information that is available. Only thing is, a group of faculty will have to piece it together and present it to the students and make students experience that. Not write a multiple choice question exam. No. A little more, make them sensitive to that. Students should understand the need for sustainable development. Students should understand the impact of engineering solutions on people and environment. Students should demonstrate the knowledge of what can lead to sustainable development.
Next one, please.
Next one, please.
You can skip this also.
You can skip this also.
What are the
activities through PO7 can be done? Addressed. Understand what sustainable growth is.
Understand the impact of given technology
on environment and sustainability. Analyze the impact of given engineering solution on the environment and sustainability. Okay. You can take a case study of whatever, let's say, one major engineering problem that has been addressed, get the data and try to look at environment and sustainability issues. Next one, please. Ethics. This is also a complex one, but we will not spend too much time on that. The PO8 is apply ethical principles and commit to professional ethics and responsibilities and norms of the engineering practice. Application of ethical principles require, first thing is what we call moral autonomy, which means I am taking responsibility for my decisions. I do not hide under saying that somebody has forced me to do that. Okay. So we will not elaborate on that. But right now, as far as ethical
many of your students want to get a job in a corporate, especially.
Things are concerned, job in a corporate, especially. Other things the corporates do, but at least they would declare that they want to operate with
ethical rules that they have
whatever the rules that they have made for themselves, and all the employees should fall within that. Actually, at the entry level, when new recruits are trained, this will become a major part of their training. So it cannot be taken as a kind of a side issue or a very peripheral kind of issue. So all students should understand the language of this ethics and look at whether you are committing yourself to that or not. Okay. Now there are courses available, discipline specific
Courses are available.
courses are available. There are
Courses
courses which are maybe across all disciplines they can be applied. So there is a course called professional ethics. With regard to IT discipline, there is a separate course available. There is enough material and courses are available today. Okay, whether you want to make it 2 credits, 1 credit, 3 credit, that is your choice, but they're available. Next one, please. You can skip this also. I already mentioned what kind of activities that can be done. If you want to do it in detail, identify the deviation of an engineering solution from the accepted professional practice. You can take one problem and discuss in the class, or
Make the students discuss in the class.
make the students discuss in the class on to what extent it deviated from professional practice. Identify the impact of an engineering solution on different groups of persons. Recognize the ethical dilemma in a case study presented. Propose actions that minimize damage and synthesize solutions rather than judge the players in ethically complex situations presented as a case studies. If you try to look at Manipur issue, for example, it's an issue of 2 ethnic groups, and there is not any easy way to arrive at a solution to that. And if you look across the country, each group thinks that it was not given the true justice. But everybody says that, and finally no government can really solve the problem. So these all become ethical issues.
So if you solve
it in one way that is a little favorable to one group, it will not be acceptable nor favorable to the other group. That is where you have moral dilemmas coming into picture. Next one, please. Individual and teamwork, this everyone should be able to understand.
Nothing in the world is an individual.
Nothing in the world is an individual. Unfortunately, when you are in a program, formal program, a student is studying by himself. He may take assistance from others, but he is operating as an individual trying to either pass or get a good
grade and so on. And that is how
grade and so on. And that is how he is used to in any undergraduate program. But once he leaves this program and joins any organization, it is always a team. No engineering activity is ever done individually. It is all done by a group. So first thing that any organization expects that you work as an effective team member. If that is the most important requirement of an industry, so the program should take the responsibility to train their students to become good team members. That's what PO9 is all about. Okay? And we say we do that, but then the only way once we say these 4 people will do a project, we wash off our hands. That is not on. You have to train them actually how to be a good team member. You need to take the help of some experts. Yes, they are available to make them as a good team member. And how do we do that? Yes, there are a variety of choices, and you should be able to. Can we finally give him a grade, or let's say some marks out of 10? That is to what extent that he was able to he's attained PO9. Can we do that? One requires a little measure of that. Yes, it is difficult. It's a bit subjective, but if you cannot do that, then by merely taking PO9 is not going to work in it. That's the challenge of PO9. Okay. Next slide, please. The next one. So the PO9 activities, group assignments that involve group decision making, division of work through negotiation and so on. And this need not be restricted to project alone. Multiple courses can have group assignments. And the support to that is once the students right from first year, if they are given that kind of group assignments and group exercises, they will grow with that. And by the time they come to the final project, hopefully they will become good team members. Okay. So group projects, co-curricular activities that will require a group, activities through e-groups. Now these days you also have to talk about e-groups.
9-8.
You are not physically interacting, but over the internet you are interacting. Even that has become a requirement now. If you want to get into some kind of next one, please. Well, as you can see, communication.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਟਾਈਪ ਕੀਤਾ
It's fairly elaborately written in that. Because if you can, one is you are doing something, but if you are not able to effectively communicate, then the whole purpose is lost. You say you solved it, but then it has to be put on a piece of paper, or you have to make a formal presentation. If you don't do that, obviously the work is not considered to be complete. And what are the elements of this communication? That's what the PO10 says. Communicate effectively in complex engineering activities. That means to persons who are not necessarily from the same discipline. Okay? So you have to communicate. If an electronics engineer wants to communicate to a mechanical engineer, he cannot use exclusive electronics terminology. Okay? Complex engineering problems will have multiple dimensions like that. And with the engineering community and with society at large, you should not only be able to communicate with people of your own discipline, but society at large. Society at large could be your customers. Customer doesn't use all your technical knowledge. Okay? They don't know your technical terms. And also as being able to comprehend and write effective reports and design documentation. All engineers will have to write, you have to write reports and design documentation and make effective presentation.
ਬਸ ਮੈਂ ਕੈਮਰਾ ਔਨ ਕਰ ਦੂੰਗਾ
Receive and receive clear instructions. See, and all these elements, students have to be given experience during the 4 years. Where do you do this? How do you do this? There are infinite choices which the college will have to explore and make you use of. Everything cannot be reduced to on 2 credit course on professional communication. It cannot be done. You won't achieve much. Okay. Next slide, please. One is how to write your project report that can be trained, and it should get evaluated as per declared rubrics. You cannot say everyone gets once a report is submitted, you give between 9 and 10 out of 10 marks. You cannot get into that mode. And they should be able to make short presentations. They should be trained for it and give feedback on a presented activity. If anything to be done properly, you have to define a measure. However, measuring that and give some marks to that. If you don't give marks for that, then obviously nobody will take it seriously. Okay, that is a challenge about anywhere from PO 6 to PO 12. Next one, please.
ਸਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ ਸਲਾਈਡ ਨੋਟ ਮੂਵੀ ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀਗੇ
Next slide.
Slide
And this is some of this project management and finance aspects. There used to be some courses earlier, but they got purged out. They got thrown out of the total engineering program because people are. The major thing is there is the engineering knowledge is increasing so very fast. Unless I teach this, how can I call him a good engineer in my discipline? And whatever they don't like, it got thrown out. In fact,
Slide is not
if you look at when they go out, more than 95% of the activity, professional activity is done in a project mode.
Slide.
How can they not be trained in project management?
from our side, everything what we said.
And another thing is all engineering activity. There is always a there is a cost dimension. You have to operate within certain financial constraints. And finance aspect used to be the way it was called economics earlier. Again, it got thrown out. So, if you want your student to get good placement, they have to be trained one way or another in project management and finance. There are courses, textbooks available. If you don't have that, please bring it back urgently into the curriculum, not as a elective. Every student should go through this. Because all engineering activities are conducted only in project mode. And in a project mode, what happens? It will be multidisciplinary. No single person is the core of that activity. So you have to interact with people from different disciplines. Okay? And you have to operate. What is the nature of any project? It has a time. You have specific timelines, and you have limited financial resources, financial and human resources. Within that, you have to achieve. And the engineering science course doesn't talk about any of that. Obviously, this has to be offered through a course. And in fact, we would even recommend college can make an arrangement where there is certification on project management can also be given. If that certificate program can be run parallelly, you will be doing a great service to your students to get good jobs. Okay? Next one, please. Next one. Yeah, I've explained all this. Next one. Yeah, one doesn't have to be your shelf life of any knowledge that you get. Especially if you take computer science, by the time you graduate, all your knowledge is already dated and it is not adequate at all to work in any organization. So your learning doesn't stop with the undergraduate program. You've learned way of learning, that's all. That is what you have to do, because the actual knowledge that you require will have to be constantly acquired. So every student should know how to go about learning by himself. Of course, there will always be help available, but you have to take the lead. You are not going to a classroom every day once you join an organization and sit in a class for 1 hour and come back. No. So lifelong learning has become our self-motivation, self-learning. All this will have to be part of, you have to prepare your students to be lifelong learners. How do you go about doing it? There are endless ways of trying to do. So you have to initiate this process right away to address the people. Next one, please. Yeah, maybe this is the place where we can stop. It is 11:46. We can take some questions. We have only confined ourselves to PO1 to PO12. We are not talking about the curriculum, we are not talking about MBA. We took it for granted that all of you are already familiar with OBE. But please take PO1, POs and PSOs are the starting point for designing your curriculum. If you are able to do it, and now you have to bring in the NEP requirements as well. When you put it all together, that is the starting point for designing the curriculum. So your questions, comments on POs.
सर ऐड कर दें
Thank you, sir. We are very fortunate to get the chance to get the knowledge from your lecture, insightful lecture, sir. One thing I want to know, sir, when we are going to map with SEO and PO.
Yes.
What happens every time we put 2, 3, and some in one also in some column and rows. So in rows 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, like that. Sir, and at the same time we give justification for the same also. Sir, what is your advice? Because as I have gone through your entire lecture, and I feel that many of the time we come across with injustification, not justification at all. So, if you do as per your advice, attainment, we cannot out of the attainment which we actually targeted and we have decided to achieve. So, in that particular case, how we should move further, move ahead in picking the the value 1, 2, 3 means level 1, 2, 3. Moderate level, low level, high level, like that. So please.
The simple thing is, I have presented the POs in such a way what are the activities that are involved in that. Okay, there are verbs like PO2 if you take, formulate, identify, formulate, research literature, and so on. Are you doing at least 1 or 2 of those activities? If you are doing 1 or 2 of those activities, put as one. Something like that. One thing what happens when everybody considers that you have to achieve your POs at the highest level. Let's say one is the highest level. Everybody will have to achieve 1. It is not required like that. You can only achieve a PO to a certain level. For example, I can set my target for a PO at 0.2 instead of 1. But am I achieving at 0.2? If I am able to achieve 0.2, then I will raise my target from 0.3 next time. If I am able to do the modifications to my or change my curriculum. Nobody expects that you achieve all 12 POs to the highest level. No. Of course, you can always show high numbers through certain simple artifacts that you can use. What is the number, divide and so on. But if you want to get the spirit of what the POs are, then you have to. Yes. I'm like to achieve the present way. PO adequately at 0.5. But I will make an attempt to attain PO2. Let's say the target as 0.2 and see what is that I can do. And then I will have, as I said, that's why POs and PSOs make all the faculty department responsible for the program. Don't say these three courses, my commit and my involvement program is over. No. Because you are responsible for all your students. The faculty are responsible for all the students over 4 years. Once you shift into that mode, it will be possible. Okay, say we can say I can do this activity in this course first year. To continue the same approach, I will do in second year another course and activity like this. I can plan it like that, but that requires cooperation and working closely among faculty.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I got your points.
So there is one question from Nagraj.
Yes.
After completing the degree, how to become a lifelong learner?
How do we?
How to become lifelong learner?
If you go back, if you take a slides, we mentioned some activities, a few courses. First of all, when you take one of the activities that is already doing is the project. When you do your project, it is not taught to you in a classroom, right? They have to identify the literature and read for themselves, study for themselves. That kind of learning by themselves will happen as a practice lot more. And these days, some extra issue comes in because if you go on to Google, you can type anything, you will get plenty of information. But you also have to learn how to filter that. How do you? What is it to be able to reject some wrong information and how to relevant information? That kind of experience also need to be given to the students. So you can say you can ask them some portions you can have like write a short term paper, make a presentation, define some rules for it, and by giving kind of let's say every semester you have one experience like that, like short term paper. So a student go through say about 6 or 7 term papers that he can do. That will give him experience learning by himself. That's one way of doing it. Lifelong learner.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, any other participant? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for guiding us. And there was initially a little bit problem we started, but I think it went very well.
I hope I will not overshot too much at the time.
It's okay, sir. I think that time have covered.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you all for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Participants will start next session very shortly. So don't leave.
तो बोलना है थोड़ी बात जानी चाहिए बस अब से वो करना है बस ये कैमरा ऑन करता है उससे जा रहे हैं मैंने पास उधरले पास स्विच ऑफ करना है ये मैं बात कर रहा हूं देखो हेलो ओदा करो ओदा ऑन करा ओदा होनी है बंद कर दो देखो ना
Hello.
Yes. Anjan. Yes, Johnny.
I am audible.
Yes, you are audible, man.
चेंज करता ना तुमने कन्या जानी कन्या सासी दास नहीं कन्या सासी दास करा है जी
Hello.
hello
Hello,
I'm audible
I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, audible, yeah.
Okay.
hello like
And the person I'm introduced as the next speaker,
Dr. Sunil Kumar
Dr. Sunil Kumar is an associate professor at the Department of Mechanical Engineering Slides, Longowal, Punjab. He received his BTech in Mechanical Engineering degree from RIC Jalandhar. From RIC Jalandhar, I mean category mathematics, Department of Engineering Technology Patiala. And also done PhD from Slides and Longowal Institute of Engineering and Technology, Longowal, in engineering robotics. He has 20 years of experience and his areas of interest in research include CAD and robotics. He has guided 20 MTech theses and guided 5 PhD students in the field of robotics and CAD. He has published more than 40 papers in international and national conferences and journals. He has also published book on modeling underwater. He has conducted more than 10 short-term course FDP workshop in field and also delivered more than 30 expert lectures in NIT, CFT and other eminent institutes. At present he is working on robotics, additive manufacturing and simulation of steel welding.
now
Thanks a lot, sir, for accepting our invitation. So now we start day 2, session second.
now sir
Thank you, Johnny. So my screen is visible and am I audible?
yes बोलिए
Please anyone response. So we can start.
Yes, now it is visible and you are audible.
Thank you. So this is day second. I am also organizer and day second and second session. My topic of lecture is role of taxonomy in PE. So what I am going to cover is a little bit about taxonomy, higher order thinking, then talking about different levels of the taxonomy, and what is the role, how can we the questions according to the levels. So we start with normal classroom practice from I think nursery or from even playpen to higher education. Generally, we follow lower order thinking in which most of the time cramping is there. We are restricted to the receiving and participating a little bit in terms of students. So activities are doing during the lesson are more simple and they are to remember or get the knowledge. So students are primarily involved in routine lower level order thinking like remembering and defining and even after classroom they are not performing some higher order thinking. Within their friend circle they may, but if we talk about the classroom then it's not at that level. So to improve that thing, Benjamin Bloom in 1950 he proposed this Bloom taxonomy, which was revised by his student Lauren Adelson in 1990. We will discuss all the steps, and he gave six steps, and he gave steps, which any teacher or lecturer should involve in his class. These Bloom also very important. So when we talk about I have different levels from nursery children. Starting from your first or second, nowadays with each chapter they are writing COs, and even in higher degrees we have those COs. So these Bloom taxonomy gives us how to write those COs and what pattern should be followed in the classroom so that our education system should be effective. So in Bloom taxonomy, basically we have 6 levels. The lowest level is your member. which we recall the thing, we define the things, we listen the thing, we can say we cram the things. And second level is understanding, where we are able to understand the logics, we are able to classify the things, we are able to explain the things, identify the things. Then comes to apply. On the basis of our remembering and understanding, we apply those concepts or materials to solve the problems, to generate new things. Then we analyze what we have applied, how it is behaving, what is the comparison with other things, how we can distinguish, how we can do experiment or questioning. Then we evaluate. After analysis, we evaluate, we justify what we have done or what we have understand and applied, and then we are analyzing that, and then we evaluate it, whether we have done these lower steps right or wrong. And then last is the creating. In creating, we on the basis of our 5 steps, we create something on the basis of that we have evaluated, that we have analyzed, and that we have applied. In brief, if I would say, knowledge or remembering, that is the first step and big step, where we need a lot of things to be crammed. It is basically the ability to recall data or information. Then comes to the next step, that is comprehension or understanding. Obviously, we have a lot of things, we have a lot of knowledge, but what out of that knowledge, what we understand is less. So that's why we in this pyramid, you can see remembering is a triangular form. You can say remembering is a bigger aspect than the understanding. So understanding is basically, it is defined as ability to grasp the meaning of material, or what knowledge we have. Out of that, we define or we grasp what is that thing. And then comes the application of applying. It basically refers to the ability to use, learn material or idea in new and concrete situations. So obviously, what we understand and what we have knowledge, we can apply only few of those things. After the analysis, applying, there comes analysis, in which basically students begin to understand the underlying structure of the knowledge and are able to distinguish between facts and opinion. And then comes your evaluation. In evaluation level, students are able to judge the things. They are just able to judge the ideas, items, materials, and more. And in the last, they are in creating or synthesizing. They have that ability to combine different components or different ideas and knowledge and understandings to form some new thing or to form a whole. So as in my previous slides, I have told that Bloom has given his this taxonomy in 1956, where the lower level was knowledge, then comprehension, application, analysis, and valuation. And then these words were wrong. Then these words were updated by a student in 2001, and from 2001 till now, we are using these taxonomy. That is in the form of verb, that is remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. We will take each one and understand what is happening in each step. So when we talk about the Bloom's taxonomy, then we write COs or even nowadays I have changed my little bit thing when I go to first class in my every semester. The first thing I convey to the students that when you are going to start, you should see in your syllabus, the first thing is not the contents of the syllabus. Before seeing the contents are obviously important, but before the contents, you should see the COs. What are the outcomes? Course outcomes. What are the outcomes that have been put on the top by the teacher? That when your semester is over, what you should do. That is important. Why the COs are being incorporated in you or not. So that's use depending on what level we are teaching, whether we are teaching to the schools, we are teaching to the diploma level, degree level, master levels, or what input we want to give. That it means if we have two similar subjects, one is running on third semester and other is running on fourth semester, then for the third semester we focus on lower level, and in for next semester we focus on higher levels. So accordingly, to define the COs, these words should be used. If we want some particular CO to be knowledge based, then the words in that CO should be used are define, identify, describe, recognize, tell, explain, reset, memorize, illustrate, or code. Similarly, in case of understanding, if we are going for that step, then our CO should contain any of these words, that is summarizing, interpreting, classifying, comparing, contract, interfere, relative, abstract, and other. Similarly, in case of applying, these words were used, and in case of analyzing, the word should be used. I think you are seeing on your screen that in this case of analyzing, you can use contract, connect, relate, device, correlation, illustration. Then in case of evaluation, criticizing, reframing, judging, defending, giving them values, characterizing, and grade, deframing. And if you want some objective or course outcome to be of a higher level, most higher level, that is creating, then you should use the word that is design, modify, role play, develop, rewrite, fight, modify, collaborate, invent, or write. So these words should be used whenever we frame our COs. So first our level, that is remembering. What should be included in the remembering, or what the remembering basically defines. That is students should be able to recognize. You should have listening capability. Whatever we are teaching, that should be described. Identifying, that should be identifiable. Retrieving, repeating many times so that student can recall it. Then naming, then locating, and then finding. There are some other words like listening, group discussion can be there, then reviewing the things, then quoting the things, we can record and then use it, we can match it, we can select some particular points, then underline the main points that we are teaching, then citing, then sorting. So how we can identify that the student has learned or not? By including quiz or definitions, then asking about the facts, or preparing worksheets, or taking tests, then labeling that we are teaching to them. We can label them, list them, we can compare workbook, or reproduction can be there, and we can also generate vocabulary in that particular topic. So in classroom, basically teacher roles in case of remembering is to direct, to tell the student, to show them what they are teaching, just it should not be verbally, then examines, then questioning, then evaluates. And what the students show, it's not only one way that teacher, most of the time teacher goes, he speaks and comes out, students do nothing, just they listen and it's over. But even in our level, there is a student's role, and in that role, he or she should respond what the teacher is speaking. He should have capability to absorb the things, remember the things, recognize the things. Once one word is already being taught, he must be able to recognize even when second time that word comes. Then memorize, then define. He should be able to, she should be able to describe, retell, and passive recipient. He should be passive recipient. So what is the potential of remembering? Even it's a lower level in Bloom taxonomy, but still it has some potential, which are make a story map showing the main event of the story. it makes a timeline of your typical day and set topic of topic, list the keywords you know about, what characters were in the stories, make a chart showing the brief about what you have taught, acrostic poems can be there, then these points can be learned. Then understanding next level comes to understanding. Understanding the main things which are to be focused on, interpreting, exemplifying, summarizing the things, paragraphing, classifying the things, comparing and explaining. These can be supported by some like illustrating, by identifying the things, by discussing the topic in detail, their cause and pros, then retelling them, then you can present research, annotation, annulate can be done, translation if students are not able to understand English, we can use the local language, giving examples, then paraphrasing and reorganizing. And then product concludes basically a reaction when you watch what reaction is coming, whether you are able to summarize the things or students are able to summarize or brief reaction, explanation, show and tell, and how we can judge with the help of examples, giving some quiz, one or two in one particular class, then listing the what we have understood. What should be and then outlining in the end. So in class, understanding the teacher role is to demonstrate, listen to the students if they are able to understand or not, and then question, then compare, then examine. And what student's role is there? Their role is to explain what the teacher has taught them, then describe it, put some outlining, illustrates, even they should be able to translate it in other language, then they should also be able to demonstrate what we have taught, and then active participation is required. So again, there is potential in understanding, although it is a lower level, but it has some potentials. What potential does, like writing in your own words, cut down or draw a picture, what we have illustrated, put to the class, then illustrate what you think the main idea may have been. Make a cartoon strip or graph or plot something, then perform play based on the stories, brief outline to explain the material of the stories, then while the characters solve the problems in the particular ways, then summary the report in the event, prepare a flowchart, make a color books, prepare this chapter in the book, then retell in your own words, that outline the main points you have understood. Then comes your applying. In applying, these things are to be focused, like implementing what we understand, carrying out the things, using them, and then executing them. So these can be done with the help of translates, using manipulate, exhibit, illustrating in detail, interpreting the things, interpreting the things that you can apply, meaning the things, practice, even just for the first time you can be right by practice. So practice makes us perfect. Then applying that the outcome, then operate it and then interview. So what product includes, we can photograph it and see it and illustrate it. Even we can do simulation on our software or by making the product, then speculate, then demonstrate, and student can present to show that what they have applied, and they can give interview, they can perform, and then can guide, or they can publish a paper. So role of applying is the teacher. The main focus should be to show the things, facilitates the student, observes what the students are applying or they are applying, should evaluate whether they are applying right or wrong, then you should organize them and then question them. And what the students told, students should solve the problems, able to solve the problems, demonstrate the use of what they have knowledge and understood. They should be able to calculate the things according to what they have gained in lower steps, then compile the things. They should be able to complete the things illustrate when they are being interviewed. They should be able to construct the new things and active recipient should be active recipient. So again, there is potential in this applying once if the student and teacher they have attained that level, then they are able to students are able to construct a model to demonstrate how SOAP works. Practice play and perform it for the class. Make a diorama to illustrate an event. He or she can diary entry, scrapbook, prepare a scrapbook, prepare an invitation, or what they are learning, photography mapping. They should be able to display collection of photographs or the graphs for particular topics, right? And they able to make the models with the help of clay or with the help of particular materials and continue with their story. Even what they have done, they can go beyond that. Then comes our analysis. In case of analysis, these words should be focused, that is comparing, organizing, reconstructing, attributing the things, outlining the things, finding, structuring, and then integrating. To analyze these words should be focused, distinguishing between able to answer the questions, appraise should be done, experiment, what experiment can be found that actually analyzed, inspection, examining, then go, and we should be able to separate the things. We should acquire the things, arrange the things in the pattern, and investigate, sift. That means we are able to do some research and calculate and exercising. So this can be done shown with the help of graphs or spreadsheets, checklists, charts or outline, or by performing the survey, database, mobile, abstract and report. So in classroom, teacher should probe the things, teacher should guide the students, observe what they are analyzing right or wrong, whether evaluating them, whether they are evaluating right or wrong, act as a source if some analysis is not going properly, the teacher should be able to guide them how to analyze, then put some question, organize them and research them. And what is students' role? Students' role is to discuss among the students or with the teacher, uncover what they are not able to analyze, argue or debate with other students, then think deeply what they are doing, then testing the things, examining those things, questioning about what they have examined, and finding out the answers, calculating, then investigating the things, inquiring from other sources, that active participation should be there. So analysis higher order. So while student has capability to analyze, he or she may be able to use a magnet diagram to show how topics are seen or different. Design questionnaire to gather information what you have designed or what you have analyzed is right or wrong. Survey classmates may find out whether they think about a particular topic, may make a choice of the vertical stages of their activities, classify the actions, and create a psychogram for a narrative, construct graph to illustrate the structured information. Sometimes it is difficult to illustrate paragraph or by words, and graphs plays important role. At this stage, one should be able to define the things with the help of graph, make a family showing relationships, then devising a role play about the study area, writing a biography of a person about a particular topic, preparing a report. He or she should be able to conduct an investigation, review the work, draw graphs, and complete decision-making metrics. Capability should be used for the student at the end of this stage. Then comes your evaluating. What we have done should be checked, hypothesized, experimenting, judging, testing, and detecting, and monitoring capability should be there in the students. So these capabilities can be enhanced by using judgment in them, by rating, by validating what they have done is right or wrong. Their increasing their capability for predicting, assessing, then scoring them, reviewing whether they can review the things or not. Then determine the time, prioritize what should be done first or second, why they should be able to compare, evaluate, defend, select and measure. So mainly our project that students are capable to debate, plan, report, evaluate, investigate the things, predict conclusion, and prescribe speech. In this, the teacher role is less, that is, they are clarifying the things to the students, they accept what the students are, whether if they are right, they have to accept, and they have to guide. Student role is to judge themselves or others on the topic they are taught. They should be able to compare the things, critics should be there, they should be able to put questions. Use should be there, then assesses, then decides, select the things, justifies the things, and should actively participate. So potential after achieving this stage, they should be able to write or do other prepare and debates, criteria judge whether they should be able to prepare the speech in the favor or against the topic, make a booklet with 5 rules using important aspects, then form a plan, discuss viewpoints, write a letter, advise on changing, write a half-year report, they should be prepare a case, implement their views, PI, or they should evaluate the actions that they have studied. And in the utmost stage, high stage, there is creation or creating. Designing is important, constructing is important, planning is important, product producing is important, inventing, devising, and then this can be done with the formulation of things by acting on the time, by predicting, by producing the things, by blending the knowledge and other analysis that we have done, by setup, by devising, by concept, and by compiling. And the product includes like filming, storing, project plan, new games, songs, film paper, media product, advertisement, and creating many things. So teacher role in creation is to facilitate to the students, extend themselves, reflect what they have learned to the student, analyze whether the student are designing correct or wrong, and evaluating them. And student role is to design, to formulate, to plan the things, to make the risk, take the risk, modify the things, create the new things, and propose the new things, and actively participate. So with this level, the student will have the capability to invent something new, machine, or can design a robot or some new product, create a new product, able to feel in relation to the product, can if in terms of literature, can write a show, design a new meter system, developing a new restaurant or things for their business, they have a startup, design a sell an idea, devise a way to, and make up a new languages, samples and writing jingle, advertise a new product. She textbook is basically suitable for entire classes, starting from lower level, emphasizes on certain level of difference, extends children's English skills to emphasize a higher level of taxonomy. Possible approach with the class would be all children work through the remembering and understanding stage, and then select at least one activity from each other's level. Then children work through first levels and then select activity from any other. Sorry, repeat again. Then children work at lower level while other works at other level, higher level. All children select activities from any level after attaining higher level, and some activities are essential while others are optional. Thinking process single out the particular attention, for example, comparing them with other children, small group or individual. Some children work on lower level and then design their own activities at higher level. And all children write their own activities from textbook. Taking this example, how we can or what are the steps to be performed in different levels, like in taking example of space, remembering for example, we can take pictures of the space, display them, then make the list what we are seeing, like planets or universe or spaceship. Then we can also list the astronauts or list of astronauts who are in the space or who have gone more than one time in space. Then in second stage, how we can make this thing understandable, that is by making that to a spaceship, making an astronaut for a perfect play, using to tell what an astronaut do, make a model of planets in our solar system. How we can apply by what sort of instruction should be there for space music, make a list of questions you would like to ask. Analyzing, we compare radio telescope to the modern telescope. We can distinguish between Russian, American space program or other space programs. We can evaluate by benefits of living on Earth and the Moon. You can take people with you to the Moon, choose and give reasons, choose a planet you would like to live on, and explain why. And last, creation, writing a newspaper report for the following headline, for example, spaceship out of control, using designing spaceships, creating space snap, preparing for spaceship, designing tips to the moon. Similarly, if we have a broader term like travel, in case of remembering, for the topic travel, we can decide what vehicles can be used for traveling. We can draw them, we can label them. Then on the understanding, we can have some questions like how do we go to the moon, or at different types of traveling, drawing the map, writing a play about the form of modern transport. In application, we have to define which vehicle should be used for traveling, where we have to use large and where we have to use small vehicles. The light red engine, we should know about the engine. Making a playbook transport will be in 20 years time. Discuss and write about it and report to the class. different forms of. So this by this way we can apply all these steps in our daily routine or even when we are teaching one particular subject. So a good teacher makes you things even when you don't want to. So the role of teacher is to make the things so interesting in each level that students are participating actively. So then comes questions. Then comes questions. Obviously, when we are following these steps, in teaching by evaluating the students, questions should also be prepared according to these steps. For example, lower to higher order questions. In lower order questions, they should include what students have remembered, what they have understood, right? For evaluating the student and preparing the competency, then diagnosing the students, what is their strength and what is their weakness, reviewing them. In higher order, we should be able to question them by what they have understand. Question should be in the form of application, analysis, evaluating or creating or designing something. For example, in case of remembering the questions, this type of question can be there starting with these things. That is, what happens after, how many, what is, how was it, that can you name, find the definition, describe what happened after, who spoke to, and what is true or false. In these questions, you may observe that most of the questions or all the questions and the answers will be in the form of what the students remember and they are living with. In case of understanding, we can question them like, can you explain why? Can you write in your own words? How will you explain? Can you write a brief outline? How do you think should have happened next? What do you think? What was the main idea? Can you clarify? Can you illustrate? Does everyone act in a way that does? In case of applying, the questions can be in this form like, do you know of another instance where can you give my characteristics? Which factors would you change if what questions would you ask of from the information that can develop a set of instruction about something? And in case of analysis, these type of questions can be there, like which event would not have happened, if happened, what might the ending have been, how what similar to what do you see as other possible outcomes, what did something changes occur, how can you explain what must have happened, what are some or other problems, can you distinguish between what were some of the motive behind, what was the point, what was the problem point, and what was the problem there. In case of evaluation, I can ask these questions like, is there a better solution? Judge the value. Can you defend your position? Do you think something is good or bad? How would you have handled? What changes are required? Do you believe? What would you feel if? How effective are the things? What are consequences? What influence will they have on your lives? What are the pros and cons? Why is the value? What are the alternatives? Who will gain and who will lose? And in creation, we can question the students like, can you design something according to the subject you have taught? Can you see a possible solution? How, if you had assessed all the sources, how would you deal with them? What do you devise your own way to? What could happen if, and how many ways you can do something? Can you create new or unusual uses for? Can you develop a proposal? What we have learned. So with this, I end my lecture and this thought, he who learns but does not think is lost. Participants, if there are any queries.
Happy participate online now.
Thank you, sir. So if you are new guys, you are yes, sir.
Sunil sir, very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon.
Happy to hear the two lectures today. Talks.
Yes,
I
yes, yes.
informative.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Your time, sir. Thank you, sir.
It is our
Your time,
pleasure.
sir.
It is our pleasure knowing about the latest issues as far as academics and research is concerned. So with this level of achievement from creativity, creating.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You may throw some more light on how we can promote this industry oriented
Yes, sir.
academics and research, because our students should be something like a KFC chicken to be observed by the industry. They should be able to solve problems, present problem, I mean, how to promote, how to encourage them.
Sir, I think in the last higher order that is in case of analyzing, applying and designing. Specifically when we talk about the technical issues, we can include the industrial problems, live industrial problems. And for that, teachers have to be in communication with the industry persons. Like sir, one of my friend is industries, small scale industry. He produces horses for and nowadays I just within 1 hour I generally visit his industry and take some problems, and that problems I give to the students in all the three levels, even in UG level, even for them in MTech also, and then MTech also, and then PhD. Like I have taken one problem, like they are doing casting with their workers, and June and July, it is very for them to work. So I studied all that. One of my students worked on that, design a board so that can replace the human beings at that particular. So I think we should students first teachers have to be in communication with the industry and provide the real life examples and give to the students at the higher orders.
Yes, sir. That is what I have been doing. I will be explaining tomorrow. Ongoing projects, industry solution, and of course some ministry projects and all. So tomorrow I may be giving some of the examples. Thank you very much, sir. Conducting a nice program. I'm sure it will be highly useful.
Yes, sir. It will be highly useful. This is all the 5 days learning will be implemented. I think they will high education or effective educational process will be there.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, participants. So the second session is over. We will see you in our next session at start at 30. It will be given by Dr. Meenakshi Sood, Associate Professor from MIT India, Chandigarh, and the topic will be formulating course outcomes and their mapping with POs and EOs. So we will see you at 2:25. So it's requested that please join for mostly speakers are very active and they join us before at least 10 to 15 minutes before their lectures. So thank you to all hearing us. Thank you. See you at 2:25.
मैं दोबारा तो लिंक करा जस्ट ऑफ स्क्रीन करना कभी कर
लिंक तो कंटिन्यू नहीं है।
इधर वीडियो पे लिंक लगाऊंगा ना।
हाँ उसका तो यूट्यूब में तो स्ट्रीमिंग बंद करेगा तो ये बंद हो जाएगा।
नहीं यूट्यूब वाला लिंक खत्म हो जाएगा बस।
यूट्यूब पे स्ट्रीमिंग भी 1 घंटे की होती है या 2 घंटे की होती है?
ना पूरा चलता है, कुछ नहीं होता। हाँ यार ये देख तूने यहाँ पे चेक नहीं किया ना, क्या बेटा, ये देख फिर बंद हो गए यहाँ पे।